Alright. A place forbidden. So this is a horror game by a team forbidden. A little game. I believe the setting's a library called Ouroboros. This sure as hell ain't my apartment. Do I like that sensitivity? I definitely didn't fall asleep in this chair. I don't think there's anything in any of these drawers. Pretty depressing. So that's not the traditional Ouroboros symbol. Usually it's just a round serpent. We're being watched. Nothing on the shelf. There's probably nothing in here unless I actually need to come back here later. Well, I'll just leave all those open so I know I went through them. Visitors. Yentl, Mason, Lenel, Illa, Samuel, Alice, Hans, Bernard, and V. Greetings, visitor. Excuse me. You're more than welcome to sign your name and the date of your visit in this guest book. Once you've done that, we welcome you to explore the library to your heart's content, so long as it isn't after closing. Once you've had your fill, please let yourself out. You'll find a key to the front door on one of the desks in the study. Alright, so find a key. Room 1. You really should clean this place. Don't lose the trash. Room 2. This room makes me wish I had someone to vent to. Room 3. I think I'm cracking. Under the strain, I had the strangest inclination to walk straight into a wall. There's a secret path in the dark. Room 4. Room 5. Art can really be illuminating. Nice painting. The handle turns, but you can't open it. Can I turn off the light? No. Doesn't seem to be working. It's cold in here. Doesn't seem like a very fair fight. It's almost 10:30. It's so quiet. Doesn't look like it's plugged in. Unresponsive. Another dead plant. Last I remember, I was sitting at home reading a letter from an old friend. Welcome message. From all our staff, welcome home. Welcome. We're glad you're here. The library is located in the picturesque part of Britain, atop a grassy knoll east of Sussex. Many rural townships, obviously bereft of their own libraries, refer to their villagers to the library. Bereft of their own library, refer their villagers to the library. It is beloved by all. Pursue your vast stock of fiction, our vast stock of fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and everything in between. Chat with friends, librarians, and employees. And feel free to spend as long as you'd like reading, using our computers, or just spending time here. We always love new visitors. Should you hear any odd knocking in the corners of the building, pay no mind. The library is on the other side of the foundation and the foundation plays tricks on some visitors' minds. Don't worry though, it's perfectly safe. The tick fills up on blood. A pustulate pulses on a dead dog's eyes. Like these on your head shall burst. Like these your head shall burst. Okay. Oh, it's just the same thing. You got a flashlight. None of them are working, eh? There's a phone ringing. Talk about a blast from the past. All of these phone numbers are 3 digits too short. Oh yeah, they don't have area codes, eh? The screen looks burnt out. Nothing happens when I press the buttons. I'm not gonna read that after I just... Okay. I need to find the right key. So I can pick up the crumpled pieces of paper, but not the actual sheets. No. Do they just disappear as well? Well, I'll leave that for now. I gotta go find this phone. Weird, almost all the words are crossed out and the pages are stuck together. Can't open this any further. Peace be with you, friend. We're glad you decided to join us. Despite the name, the library is open to people of all sorts of different faiths. There are vast tracts of religious knowledge, modern, old, and otherwise. We're certain you'll find the peace you seek. We know you've traveled far to arrive here, so please do rest. Keep an open mind, read to your heart's content, and we'll be sure you're well provided for. One matter of note, we ask you not to linger after closing, or to descend too far into the library's bowels. Some of our books are quite old and very sensitive to ingression of foreign temperatures and moistures. Thank you for understanding. A long list of books and dates. They were checked out. Funny, none of them have the year listed, only months and days. Okay. Doesn't move at all. Feels a little warm to the touch. Some brochures. Oh, I found a key. Welcome message. Thanks for visiting the Library of Ouroboros. Thank you for visiting the Library of Ouroboros. You can go now. That's just a pen there. I'll get you in a second. See if there's anything else to read first.
Hello. Welcome to the Library of Ouroboros. We're glad that you've decided to visit our humble institution. Hopefully, you'll find what it is you're looking for. Please be informed that the library is closing. Since most of our staff are currently away, please lock the door on the way out. We hope you've enjoyed your visit.
Well, I guess we leave. And it's going to be that simple. Game over. This can't be right.
Hello. We'd like to inform you that the library is now closed. Note that it is unlawful to remain on the premises after closing. This is your one and only warning.
Well, I try to leave. So I need a combo for that. What is... The mouse is in the coffee cup. Why? Papers equal parts smudged and illegible. There's now a toy horse. Everything's budged up against the door over there. Scribbled paper. Another dead plant. To the library. Very early into my professorship, and student came to my office one spring afternoon with a stack of papers in her arms. She said she'd been having strange dreams of a place stretching forward and backwards into infinity. Dreams of hallways splitting into hallways. Dreams of being lost in the intricate guts of some gigantic place that could not possibly exist. On the papers were crude sketches. She was no artist, she said, but something about the dreams had left a vivid impression on her that was in her brain to the page seemed only her up. So vivid, left such a vivid impression on her that putting what was in her brain to paper seemed the only option. She was clearly distressed. When I gently suggested that she visit the university psychiatrist rather than the resident ancient history professor, she finally shook her head, asking if I knew anything about something called an Ouroboros library, or perhaps a Library of Ouroboros. It wasn't entirely clear. I told her the common knowledge about the symbol taken from Egyptians by the Greeks, and from the Greeks by the medieval Europeans, a sign in alchemy of the death and rebirth, and so forth. The student continued shaking her head all throughout my explanation until she suddenly cut me off. Those are too old. The modern place for my dream was modern. There was electricity, computers. But everything seemed ancient and stank of old dust and damp wood. And something else. Please, don't you know anything in recent times that might have stemmed from that idea? I confess that I hadn't, especially considering the size and the many niches of the modern world. She left without another word, leaving her drawings behind. Something about the conversation shook me. I looked through the crude drawings made in a shaky hand and saw in the familiar shapes the design of an odd air of a shaky hand and saw in the familiar shapes and designs an odd air of ominousness, like looking at the faded facade of a dark building and hearing the slightest scratching of something that shouldn't be just behind the stones. All very juvenile thoughts, and yet I went home that evening. I brought the drawings. I couldn't help but want to look more at whatever she discussed into that Library of Ouroboros. I was largely fruitless. I found many sites and articles on alchemy, the symbol itself for the public library in Ouroboros County, which was located somewhere in rural Wisconsin. But just as the hour crept past midnight, I found something. The slightest snatch of information at the bottom of a rabbit hole series of links. I will not repeat the website's domain or my steps to arrive there for fear that someone might try and replicate what I did. But I will repeat what I found because just as that student shouldn't get the ideas from her head without drawing, I can't find damn it. Just as that student couldn't get the ideas from her head without drawing, I find I can't think of anything else, walking or sleeping. I hope this will help. The Library of Ouroboros, a kind of walking dream, arrived upon by those too curious for their own good. Rich in black secrets, rich in dark ideas lost to time, rich in languages from dead races on other planets. A fortunate die, the fortunate die, the truly lucky, or perhaps the most unfortunate of all, become tenders for all time. Known for more than any living being could ever hope to learn, without becoming permanent, perpetually screaming stain on the face of space-time forever. None have left it unscathed. There are forbidden tomes that would prevent you from breathing should you merely touch them, and the tenders are beyond sanity. Jealousy kept them from their terrible secrets. You searched enough. This is your final warning. That night I slept fitfully, my dreams beset by images of a dark, dusty place, eerie for its supposed normalcy. I could almost feel things passing by just beneath the floorboards, within the walls, watching me. Every exit led to another room, nearly the same as the one before, and out the back window I saw only black. My dreams have been consistently disturbed since that night. So much so that it's hard for me to teach, so heavily preoccupied is my waking mind. I hope this writing will be enough to put my mind at ease. One last thing. I've since tried to find the student who first contacted me to tell her what I learned. My hope was that I might be able to put her mind at ease, or at least commiserate with her. But I haven't been able to find her. In fact, since the day she visited my office, her roommates haven't seen her, nor has anyone else. I fear I might be next. Oh, cracks on the wall now. Too smudged to be legible. The note is largely obscured by blood. You can make out only a handful of words. In one of the dustier books, fell apart in my hands, there were these arcane scribbles. feels after I threw it away. Still not quite right, like something watching. Pretty stodgy barricade. Somebody must have been desperate. Bolted pretty tight. I don't see myself tearing this off the wall barehanded anytime soon. Chess piece. Okay. So that's still not budging. The computer's on. Okay. Computer's on the chair. Things are just flying everywhere. Okay. Not plugged in, still sparking. I got a screwdriver. The ceiling fan. So where did that figure go? I can't help but feel as if I stand before the precipice of some terrible reality. Left one room only to come right back to another, right back to it. Shame there's no place to go but straight ahead. I've hidden a few tools in this room in case the path ahead isn't what I hoped it is. If they're not here anymore, then good news. The path ahead, at least immediately, is probably safe. Zero chance of any hostile entities. If they're still here, though, well, I hope they're useful to you. You're going to need all the help you can get. So, 4102 B. Right? 4102. The window's locked, but it gives a little when I push on it. I need some way to remove the padlock. Let's break that glass. Something about this plant feels wrong. Okay, so 4102.
We've given you chances. Ample warning. You proceed, we threaten. Continue on your current path, and they will find nothing left of your head. We swear it.
I,
For the last and final time, go back from whence you came.
I'm trying, but how? I picked up forbidden knowledge. Oh. First word. Here's theirs. Second word. Third word. Fourth word. Fifth word. Interesting. So the lockpick's not for that. That wasn't standing before, was it, that book? Oh, we got it. And again? I thought I just went outside. What the hell? So, I think that's the room I started out in. Maybe. Or is it someplace new entirely? Something about this room is even worse than the last ones. Before, there might have been an odd feeling in the air, a certain untraceable scent, but it at least felt like somewhere people had been. Here, something's definitely wrong. I can hear something deeper in this room, barely perceivable, crying out in pain. Here goes nothing. There's no way I'm in the same library I was in earlier, right? This room's massive. The Minister's Doom, Act 4, Scene 3. Open atop the roof, the minister's estate. The minister lies against a statue of a lion splattered with his blood. The saber hilt protrudes from a gaping wound in his chest. The librarian stands over him, triumphant. And so you finally ceased your pathetic withering. The minister spits up blood. Are you here to taunt me, or to end this charade? Go on, go on. You've ruined my life, destroyed all I love. Sever what remains, damn you. The librarian. Come now, minister. Is there any need for this melodrama? Kill me, damn you, kill me, librarian. Are you pleading for mercy? I wonder. We're trying to salvage the last of your pride. It doesn't matter. Your reasoning is flawed. What are you? He doubles over, his words lost in bloody coughing fits. Consider it. Your ties to this world were severed, all earthly connections gone. Had I wanted to kill you, I could simply have stepped into your estate and placed that saber between your shoulder blades, yet, even now you still breathe, your wounds non-lethal, or I should say, non-lethal enough for your stake. For our sake. Our? What the devil are you talking about? Forgive me, minister, but I'm afraid I've misled you, you see. This was never about vengeance. When I met you on your return from the city hall those 3 weeks ago, it was only a few hours after my first visit to the city. What tale about the library that I put out for business? A very flimsy lie, I'm afraid, really. I'm quite amazed you didn't see through it. Oh, and since the truth is coming out in the open, it should be said that the odds were insurmountable from the start. You were never just fighting an individual. I knew it. That maid will hang. That maid is dead already. Half-hearted turncoat is of no use to me. Actually, it's exactly the truth that should come out, minister, for you see, there's no such thing as me. Never was. There's only us. The minister is silent, his mouth hanging open in shocked awe. A madman. Wrong, my friend. Neither mad nor man. Nor are we here, as you so delightfully put it, to sever you. Quite from the contrary, in fact, we want you to join us. We are always in need of fresh, strong minds. Your impeccable business sense, your knack for keeping it from ever sullying your spotless, smiling public face, has proven that you have exactly that. My God, get back! Your God is dead, or asleep, or else he is somewhere out of hearing, or else he does not even listen at all. No, no, minister, my friend. You cannot choose between him and us. The only choice is to come willingly, or for us to take you. The minister's hand darts into his coat, pull past the saber. In a flash, he withdraws a flintlock pistol. I make my own options. The minister fires straight at the librarian's heart. A perfect shot at zero range. But when the smoke finally clears, the librarian still stands casually, He reached up to brush the pistol shot from his overcoat. Regrettably, it seems you forfeit your right to choose. The scene darkens as the minister gives a strangled, agonized scream, and when the light returns, the minister stands alone. It's only him, the saber, and the blood-stained lion. Get comfortable, minister. We'll be spending a lot of time together. Sounds like an interesting play. What the heck is it kind of ink is this? You see those hands, eh? Can't turn out the candles. Well, and they're all going to turn to watch me. How delightful. On the failures. Word has it that those who pass the librarian's bleak tests are granted knowledge beyond the ken of any other. But you who want to know about those who failed, such fate is miserable as the next but very well. Some few are allowed to retain their sentience, but lose all mobility. The spirits are torn from their bodies, with the latter being cast away. The librarian takes these spirits and compresses them, that's right. Those tomes you've been seeing lining this place, those books you've ignored, many of them were once like you, poor fools, lost in a forgotten place. Then there are the husks, shambling bodies that move without direction throughout the library's infinite halls, searching for heads that have long since been taken. Are their souls still there, locked away in some deep, dark, forgotten keep? Potentially. But they will search fruitlessly forever. These fates are equally terrible, forever trapped in a place, forever cursed to wander. But there is one worse than both. Especially poignant failures, those that attract the librarian's knowledge but fail in the end are given especially poignant punishments. Some say that the library's deepest depths, the walls shudder and shake and pulsate with life that should have died long ago. And some say that those walls are formed from the promising few who could not prove themselves. Is there any egress from this place? Egress from this place, death or otherwise? Perhaps. Perhaps not. But I'll certainly never see it. Well, not quite sure what we're looking at, but what the what the hell is this place? Down the trapdoor, I guess. If you can't escape, go further down. God damn it, what the hell is going on? Why am I back here?
Like a beetle in an antline's trap, you flail your way deeper. It is gratifying to watch you wriggle your way to your doom. We so rarely have new visitors. Perhaps we won't spatter you across these walls. Perhaps we'll allow you to stay, join the others. It is what you want, is it not?
Not particularly. Made it to this room, and I'm not going any further. Caught a glimpse of him. Bastard that's been talking in my ear. Was wearing a dark cloak so I couldn't see much more than his figure. Shape of his head wasn't human. Makes sense. Can't stop capitalizing his name. Psychomantic? Or did he do something to me? Psychosomatic. I don't know. I won't be able to stay here forever. I know he's waiting for me, just a little beyond the door on the other side of this room. Just like I've got a date with this crevasse. Anything's preferable to what I think he's got in mind for me. If you're reading this, you should probably join me down here. Whatever's ahead won't be pretty. I don't know what this is, but it sure doesn't look safe. So V, whoever he was, just took a dive, eh? I don't imagine that's going to do much in a place like this, though. And so, all the books on the shelf here, previous people who've come through the library. You wouldn't even be here had you not been so damn curious. You only caught a letter from a friend and then you woke up here, yeah? Nothing you did. I know better. You searched for the library at home. Actively try to be ensconced by the pull of black knowledge in forbidden places on the internet, in the dusty cabinets of the world. You were looking for something. We both know why. It was all because of that letter. But it isn't just guilt that moves you, is it? It's that hungry feeling, that desperate wish to know all there is before the grave wraps its gnarled hands around your leg and pulls. Though mine has been lost to the ages, I can sense your heart beating. In fact, everything in and around the library can. Poor, stupid bastard. If you recognize what forces you've caught the attention of, I think you'd go the way the one before you did. Nothing to just jump off. And now there's just no door at all. Good question if there is anything behind that door. It's probably the librarian. Yeah, I don't like it either. Looks like the phases of the moon. The clock tablet. He was old as sin, perhaps older, and had lived alone for a long time. Over his many years, he had accumulated much wealth, knowledge, fond memories, but nothing to stop the onset of time as he walked the dark halls of his mansion, as he paced in the dark, as he worried away his time in his study. Time continued along, tearing at his flesh, bending his brittle bones. The hands of the clock peeled his organs away from his body, one by one, until his waning strength finally failed him. He was found slumped in his chair, surrounded by books, bearing unidentified sigils. In the end, even they had not saved him. Hmm. The snake tablet. He was an only child, left alone for too long, as children are wont to do. He went off in the high grassy hills above the apartment complex he called home. The tall grass came almost to his chin, tickling his nose when he stepped forward. The freedom normally kept from him was finally his, and it was magical in its own way. So deeply enthralled with the hills and grass, the view of town was at the view of town was he did not think to listen for the rustling of the glass. When the snake's fangs sank into the young flesh, they met no resistance. His body was found days later, huddled into a ball. Uh, the bear tablet. Then adulthood found her. She found herself desiring solitude more and more frequently. Since her youth, Since her youth home had sat at the edge of the vast forest which her family had warned her against exploring, but on the night of her 13th she went alone to finally explore it. The woods were equal parts dark and foreboding, with thin, sickly antlers, creating almost a fence of wood. As she weaved between them, she arrived at a derelict cabin abandoned for years. Naturally, she entered, her curiosity driving her. They said that the marks found on what remained of her body afterwards bore the wounds as if made by a bear, though few had seen a corpse so thoroughly savaged by an animal. In her middle age, she had little to do, and so gained a fascination with the old radio in her attic. It was a relic from her childhood, and it never worked properly waned and in this as she waned into the seclusion of her home, and desire to see it work again overtook her. Her curiosity matching her seclusive nature in equal parts. She plumbed knowledge in the dark recesses of her attic, building capacitors and vacuum tubes, twisting metal and wires. In the end, the radio sang. It was more than a radio should have been. Flames spouted from the speakers, from wires, from the shattered glass tubes. The fire ate up everything it touched. She was reduced to a blackened skeleton. He was 16 when he went driving alone for the first time. His family had kept him from the world. He said it was more than high time that he went and learned about what was out there. It was less than an hour before he was lost. He hadn't received his license yet, after all. There were many winding side streets surrounding the small town he called home. It was on a lightless intersection where he met his fate. A pickup hit his sedan without stopping. As his vehicle spun out and rolled into the ditch, the pickup vanished into the night. His head was pulverized by the steering column, turning it to little more than paste. Car tablet. Okay. So, let's have a look at these again. So, adulthood. Was the bear, right? For her 30th. And 16 was the car. Old is sin. Doesn't really give an age on this one. But that one was the clock. Or time. And then middle-aged. And that was fire. And then child. Who was that was the snake. So snake, car, clock was at the far end, and then what should be bear and fire. The safe contains a lump of blackened flesh. It's hard to even be surprised anymore. Hi.
You piqued our curiosity. We read your book, discovered that for a mortal, you're rather unique. In the same way that a human might consider a primate, you almost remind us of ourselves. Though, of course, we'd never stoop to your level.
Dark comes crashing down. It swallows you whole, swallows you whole. O God, the lights go dim, one by one. Well, let's go. Christ, maybe it'd be safer not to move at all.
Get out! Get out! Can't you find your way out? You should find your way out soon. You won't want to be there when the light fades in full. Soon you shall see what she saw.
What? Okay, what am I supposed to do here? Oh. Thank God, I'm finally back where I entered. Time to get the hell out of here. Can we? I mean, that's not letting me read anything. Or examine anything. I still need to find the right key, though. The key was there the first time. Fingerprints all over the computer screens. Nothing there. Oh, there it is. Fuck is right.
Oh, good. You're finally here. Certainly kept the suspense going. Stay right there. We shall be with you shortly, and once we're there, we'll turn your form into something more palatable. More arms, we think. More legs. The eyes. Stay right there.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Hey, buddy, what's going on? So none of these are interesting to me, I guess. The only pieces of paper. Hmm. Well, that didn't do me a whole lot of good. Oh. Ah. Okay. Well, isn't this place a wreck? If I lived someplace this disorganized as here, I think I would have. It would just be a matter of time before I swallowed up by all the trash. Just like the staircases, though they're a nice touch. You're probably what needs to be done here. Think deep, down. You already know. Since you're so inclined to play dumb, though, I'll give you a hint. It'd be a lot easier to get around here if you could organize everything somehow. Yeah. Okay. So I need to find some objects. So let's go down here. Because this landed me around here. Hey, buddy. This is a place where a mine that would not be pure. If this were a mine, it would not be pure. The answer to the path ahead is embedded in a column of red flesh. I got a brass key. Testing. It seems pure, but there are cracks of memories of other misdeeds, of evil committed. There are recurring themes in each memory, and one is that is alone. The numbers will open your path back. Okay. The card holder. Nothing illegible here. Hey. How you doing? Can I call home? Stop wasting electricity. Alright, so what are you saying? There are cracks, memories of other misdeeds, of evils committed. There are recurring themes in each memory, and one that is alone. The numbers will open your path. As in Indies. Okay. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 4, 1. 8, 4, 3, 1. You little shit. Like you hadn't done enough already. Now I'm trapped here, damned to repeat this shit like a goddamn tape recorder. If you had an ounce of remorse, you'd dash your brains out on the nearest wall. He was never much good for forming connections with people, and this time wasn't any different. That woman who'd walk into his life spent a night and a half with him and recognized him for what he was, an empty, half-formed piece of sentient scum. Naturally, he took eons more from their brief thrice than she ever intended. Spent days upon days picking their every second thought together apart, thinking about what he could have done differently. Not once did he even consider what he should have known in the first place, that there wasn't anything to him. Though he wasn't a person enough for himself, let alone another. This is a little different. What's down here? Don't listen to them, if you can help it. You and me, we're birds of a feather, I can tell. Better to pull the covers over your head and cover your ears, in case you hear something you don't wanna. Sit down and let the inevitable wash over you. I take this fate to turning into one of those husks. Brr, gives me the shivers. But if you're really hellbent and rappelling into the lion's gullet, and then don't don't say I didn't warn you. I guess you need help you can get. Here's what to say. Listen carefully.
Stop thinking. Can harm. Everything is. Find nothing. You just. Find nothing. Everything is. Can harm.
Okay. So I have to pick these up in the right order, I think, right?
You just.
Right, let me write this down. You just is one.
Find nothing.
Fine. Nothing.
Everything is.
So everything is, which is 3.
Can harm.
Can harm.
Stop thinking.
Stop thinking is 5. You just. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, right? So dumb all you like. The librarian already knows your body inside and out. He spent all this time searching and eventually found his goal. There are places, even in this digital world, where things not meant for mortal eyes lurk. He caught only the slightest glimpse of one such place, and it was enough. The eyes of the librarian were upon him from that point forward. What happened was destined to happen, and worst of all, he never found the knowledge he sought. Maybe it's better that way. Guess we're done here? Okay, my friends. That is just absolutely horrid. So let's go back down this way. Because I think we have all 3 items now, right? I think it was 3. Oh, I'm still missing one. Well, let's go back then. Because I haven't gone down this way yet. And look at that, we picked the worst one for last. The first. The second. The fourth. The third. The fifth. So what are you saying? Yeah, you little bastard, this is what things look like here anyway. I spent a lot of time in this hellhole, and I'd be willing to bet if you dug up the floorboards anywhere, this is what you'd find. Eyes, pulsating flesh, red guts, and blood. That's what I think. I think this is all there is. A place like this without cease couldn't even exist on its own. An empty nothingness, no. If it's going to make up all the space, if it's going to contain so much knowledge, is it so far-fetched that something might have changed in its makeup? That it might have come alive? Forget it. I can see you already have your own beliefs. Well, maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't goddamn matter. This room is a trap, must be. Those tablets with the notes weren't here until earlier. I can't say when, but I think they came for you. Serves you right, I know you're kind. But if it'll help you get the hell out of my room, well, that's a test too, Christ. I can still see your slack-jawed expression fine. I'll give you not one but two whole hints. Even a damn fool like you should be able to use them. The librarian would like to give you a hand. The flesh in that safe does not operate like its predecessor. Okay. Can't go further back there. Joy of the Recluse. Of his 5 fingers he lost 2, only 3 remained. Without the first he would have been an animal. Without the second he could no longer condemn. Without his final remaining finger his hand would look a little strange. So 3, 1, 2. Of his 5 fingers he lost 2, only 3 remained. Without his first he would have been an animal, so that would be his thumb. Without the second he can no longer condemn, that's the pointer finger. Without his final remaining finger his hand would look a little strange. So that would be maybe the pinky finger? Could also be the middle finger or the ring finger. Three, 1, 2. If we assume the first was 5, then that should be 4. Five, 3, 1, 2, 4. Right? Well, we'll try it. Oh, they just go in. Okay, so these are the fingers. Yeah, so it was the pinky. I know more than the others, but I won't tell you. He spent too much time alone, thinking. That had accelerated his downfall. A terrible thing befell that woman he claimed to have loved. It consumed him, consumed his every waking moment, whether or not he had been loved back. The depression lost him his job and his home, turning a sad wreck of a human being into a sadder, hollower thing. His focus, his obsession, never strayed. She was gone from his life, and as far as he was concerned, that was all that mattered. Even when a family member took him in and sheltered him, he all but ignored them. So enwrapped in himself was he. Okay, I solved it, but I didn't really get anything out of there, did I? still letting me click on here, but so we went down that one. Can't go off that edge. So there's still something missing. So we got the key from there, or not the key. So we got the object from here. Which allowed us to escape. And same with this one, right? This was the phones, and we got the item off of the table here. Which allowed us to open the door. Come on. And I can't go off any of the other edges. I couldn't find the item that was in here. There should be an item here. It says I can click on this, but I can't. The seconds. librarian would like to give you a hand. The flesh in that safe does not operate like its predecessor. Am I meant to cut those open with something? Oh. Hi. Oh. Am I supposed to give you something? Hold on. There's gotta be something here. There's gotta be something here. What am I missing? You want to tell me something? What am I missing? librarian would like to give you a hand. I got that reference from the other one. There's the hand over there. Does not operate like its predecessor. What if I go see what those hands in the main room are doing? Maybe that's a thing? Let me see here. Because there's just... Oh no, that was in the previous area. There's no hands here. This had a reference to telephones. This one had the chessboard in there that flipped everything. So what's around this hole? There's nothing. So there's got to be something in here I'm just missing. Right? So what am I missing here? Was that small thing it? Damn it. I thought that was just a book. Whatever, we got it. That's my own oversight. But that should be the last item, right? I knew you'd come. Very well, I'll speak. He was always inclined towards solitude, not that he had any choice in the matter. In fact, perhaps solitude would have been his lot. But he was terrible with words, worse with speaking. It wasn't so much a matter of laughter at his expense, he was merely curious. He was merely a curiosity. An ingrown, strange thing, vaguely uncomfortable, otherwise without note. There is one exception to this lonely existence. As he aged, he found himself in the position of an archivist, surrounded only by dust, dead things, and dead words. Though he'd grown used to the solitude, he hated it with a burning, quiet passion. Thus, when When he had a graduate student about his age come to plumb the dry dead things, he forced himself to strike up a conversation with her. To his delight, she returned his words, and for the first time in ages, he felt his heart beat a little faster. Okay, so we got it. Now we can go back, I assume. Alright. I don't know that. He was aware enough to be jealous, though she rebuked his advances, though she suggested the two of them never see each other again. It was, of course, close enough for him. He would come by daily, nightly. When she locked the door, he would continue to bang on it. When she called the police, he still found ways to watch from afar, until one night, when he watched an unknown foreign shape enter her abode. Though he could only barely make out the silhouette, he could tell it was a man, and that was enough to send him into a rage. The authorities arrived too late on scene to save anyone. Though the fire was contained, the victims died of smoke inhalation. Somehow, they hadn't been able to open the front door. The screwdriver keeping it jammed was no longer at the scene of the crime, of course. When I next opened my eyes, I found myself on an empty road in a desolate place. There was a faint, ethereal quality to everything. It didn't fill me with confidence. On the way back, my head, I felt a burning thought. A thought burning, like a fallen ember from an end of a cigarette. Was I free? Or was I still trapped within the library's vast expanse? And how could I tell? Even if I arrived home and everything was as it had been. How could I know if the librarian's voice wouldn't just be on the other side of every door, of every window, forever? I guess it doesn't matter either way. At the end of everything, I never found out what I'd come to the library to gain. For the rest of my life, I think I'll find myself wondering just what it was that I missed. Perhaps the failure was a blessing, empty as I find myself left. Perhaps there was something even worse waiting for me if I'd only looked a little deeper. But I doubt it. That was good. I think there was that hidden knowledge which could have got me through that last door. But other than that, it's definitely interesting. It seems like there was quite a few stories muddled together, or were they all part of one? Because it seems there is always a man and a woman involved there. The professor and the student first read about in the beginning. She went missing, then he went missing. And then at the end here, where this archivist, or professor, was enamored by a woman who just showed up and kept distancing herself from him, as if to have disappeared. Very good story. And I think I'm going to want to go back and find those missing bits of knowledge so I can get that last puzzle. But I think I'll leave it there. You guys go check this out for yourselves. Try and find those last bits of knowledge.